Hello, everybody. It's Marcia from Walls and Wellness with Marcia. We're on chapter 18 on the fine balance of the unbalanced world. And that chapter's titled Love. So let's get started. Eat like you love yourself. Move like you love yourself. Speak like you love yourself. Act like you love yourself. Either Tara or Jara Stiles, supermodel and creator of Strala Yoga, Strala Yoga. When the rock group Queen sang about this crazy little thing called love, they didn't know how right they were. Love is complicated. Whether it's romantic love, familiar love, self-love, or even those intense feelings of attraction you get when you say you love a good book or the latest handbag from Prada. But what complicates love for women, especially in this internal compass that says you're supposed to love everyone, those nurturing maternal instincts of yours, which are awesome, to make sure everyone's happy, cared for, and valued. It's your natural inclination to get attached to others in a loving way. But beyond your own kids and spouse, is that really possible? Or even healthy? And what about getting lots of that love for yourself? Give and receive, committing to a life of authentic love. When you're found with a woman, we've found with a women, we're met through Ula, is that love can be a tremendous accelerator in one's life and an incredible force of good in the world at large. Both when you've loving others and especially when you yourself is receiving love. But the love you give has to be authentic and pure. Has to be applied as a smart way, and it's a learned skill that takes practice. Of course, the best way to get better at love is to start loving yourself more. Giving others a clear example of how to love, and then receiving the love without complaint. The truth is, people want to love you. Let them. Sometimes Love Chooses You by Andrea Hansen. I believe love first chooses you, then it's your choice to continue to love, to work for love and to fight for it, to grow together, not apart, to focus on what is going right, not what is going wrong. Our love story began, though we didn't know it, 7 years before we met. I was a junior in high school while Chad was enrolled in the University of Minnesota engineering program. On the cold fall day, Chad was driving down a quiet country road in southern Minnesota just miles from my parents' home. A road he had driven 1,000 times before. This night, however, was different. It was late and he was tired. He'd been up late the previous night studying for final exams. Overcome by fatigue, he found himself off the road into a ditch and upside down in his car. Chad's life had changed in a blink of an eye. He woke up in the hospital with countless challenges and an unknown future ahead. Chad was paralyzed from the chest down. fighting for his life. On a ventilator and needing to adapt to his new reality. After 4.5 long months of surgeries and rehab, he was strong enough to come off the ventilator, drive his own power wheelchair, and leave the hospital to live with family. Life was now very difficult for Chad. Once fiercely independent, he now needed to rely on others to help him with everyday tasks. He once took for granted. One moment here. Let's see, where was I? Let's see. He once took for granted. Though it was difficult, he never lost his drive to live a normal life. Depression and self-pity never swallowed him up. Instead, he focused on the beauty and kindness in those around him. He would see others with challenges and be grateful for what he had. Graduating from college, he landed a job in Minnesota Department of Transportation at a salary that allowed him to build his own home. Personal care assistants, or PCAs, were not now a part of his new normal. That would come early mornings and evenings to help get him in and out of his wheelchair, brush his teeth, and stretch his body to prevent his muscles growing tight from lack of use. While Chad was in a groove with his engineering career and life in his own home, I was turning 22 and hunting for jobs with a college diploma in my hand. I wanted to teach and assumed the dream job in education would follow. Instead, I had landed only a part-time position teaching high school math, living in an old house that seemed to require repairs as routinely as mortgage payments. Money was tight. I quickly found myself looking for extra work to make ends meet. My mom's friend mentioned that a young man was looking for part-time help just a few blocks away. I walked up to his house, young, nervous, and with no idea what to expect. As the door swung open, I saw a good-looking guy with ice blue eyes quickly smiling at me and introduced himself. Chad assured me I could learn the ropes in no time. He had an easy way of conversation that made me feel relaxed and at home. Captured by his smile, dry sense of humor, and beautiful eyes, I forgot he was in a wheelchair moments after meeting him. In those first few weeks, learning to be a Chad's personal care attendant, I was awkward, unsure, and shy. The agency that had possessed my application told me never to share personal information or build a relationship with clients. As Chad asked questions about my life, I often turned them around and asked him instead. My heart was saying yes, but my head said, "Be cautious, this is complicated." Still, this positive attitude was magnetic. It was a light that slowly drew him to me. As the weeks passed, I couldn't help but seeing Chad differently. He ticked the way I ticked. We both loved learning, jokes that required thinking, deep conversation, and he was the first guy I'd ever met who actually thought I was funny. God was beginning to write our love story, and I began asking for more shifts from the agency. One afternoon, and a few months into knowing Chad, while helping him organize his office in the Minnesota Department of Transportation, he shyly asks, "Are you hungry?" I thought, is he asking me out to dinner? The man I worked for was asking me out, and my heart was thumping in my chest. "Yes," I answered, As we sat down at the table in a crowded steakhouse, I remember asking what he needed help with, not wanting to embarrass him in front of the other customers who was inevitably staring at the two of us. I knew how to help him get out of his wheelchair at night, but now I was navigating through new waters, learning how to do life with Chad. At dinner that night, while cutting up his pork chop so he could use his own fork attached to his wrist splint, I began imagining what life with Chad might feel like, and I couldn't get enough. Within a short while, I knew I needed to open my heart to what was possible. I needed to break down any preconceived ideas I had of what love would look like. During each of my 3-hour shifts, we connected, not physically or intimately, progressively, and on an intellectual level. I had butterflies in my stomach, unending smiles, and an anxious feeling, wanting to see him more and more. I knew Chad was experiencing something similar, as he would find random things for me to do around the house to keep me there as long as possible. Finally, I worked up the guts to say, "So are we friends or something more?" He put it back on me. "I don't know. What do you think?" Time seemed to stop as we shared stories, found common interests, and enjoyed new experiences. Without looking for it, we were falling in love. 2 short weeks later, he asked me to be his girlfriend. Because in my heart, I fell in love with Chad, not simply a man who couldn't walk. I found it alarming to begin receiving stares and probing questions from others. It brought concerns that I had never considered before. I get it. We have our challenges, but Chad is a catch. A real gentleman. Kind, handsome, smart, and in my eyes, he could have to pick his pick of any girl. But his wheelchair poses a roadblock for many. After much prayer and with immense vulnerability, I mustered up the courage to ask him, "Are you dating me because you're afraid no one else would come along? Are you worried that your wheelchair means you should grab the first girl who shows interest?" I needed to know. Was he choosing me for me, or because he thought this was the best he would get? My question didn't offend him. Instead, he was grateful I had opened up to a real part of my heart to him. "Andrea, I'd chosen you every day for the rest of my life," he said. "I'd choose you every day for the rest of my life," he said, "regardless of the capabilities. I'm blessed that you chose me." Over the next 9 months, he grew closer. Each date brought a new adventure. Often, we would find a hiking trail and take an unpaved path as far as we could, with our chairs before it got too treacherous. We both strived to live life to the fullest. Then, on one beautiful fall day, traveling with a smile into the woods, we found a small clearing of trees. Sitting on his lap, with us overlooking the beautiful St. Croix River, Croix River, he pulled a ring from his wrist splint and asked me to be his wife. It's beautiful. Today, almost 10 years into our marriage and blessed with our daughter Marie, we are both grateful that God used Chad's tragedy to bring us together. Chad and I both believe that our love has been strengthened through our challenges. The more we let this attitude drive our lives, the more God has showered His love and goodness on us. I'm thankful that I didn't listen to others when they questioned if I could commit to the challenges of Chad's life. Challenge is a relative term. To me, helping Chad with daily living is just part of a regular life, not obstacles to overcome. I get to be his hands and feet while he brings stability, love, and joy to me daily. I've learned that all marriages require hard work, but while many couples live with struggles privately, our challenges are merely more visible to others. As Chad teaches me constantly, life is well lived when you remember that you have 100% control over how you view the world. Love is powerful, and attitude is everything. What does love look like in your life? Does it come with conditions like I will if you, or I will love you if? Pure love comes with it without conditions, and pure love means you love your Ula life. But it is possible to sustain authentic and pure love. Is it possible to love well for a lifetime? And that's all I have for today. Tomorrow I'll be reading, tomorrow's Sunday? Tomorrow's Saturday. Today's Friday. Okay, tomorrow I'll be reading Dandelions by Barb Braun. So, I hope you enjoyed today's. I'm sorry it was a little bit long. I think it was pretty good. And tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow with the next part of the story. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Ta-ta. Love you guys.